like to step into public transport till we get confidence on hygiene and social distancing for a short period. And hence, people may move to two-wheelers and cars, personal cars for a short term.
So
But
you
looking
see,
at
this
the
is a silver lining in this, that because people would like to maintain social distancing, they will be more towards, they will be keen on using their own vehicles, and actually the sales of cars eventually will go up.
I think so. I think so. That's the hypothesis most of us are right now looking at. But having said that, will we get in the sales as quickly as where we were, like a V-shaped curve? We need to look over a period of 3 months and see how does it open up, because it also depends on how the economy opens up. Looking at what's happening right now, we are opening up in a phased manner. When we open up in a phased manner, I'm sure economy is going to build up over a phased manner. Mobility is going to be the need over a phased manner. There are certain things which are permanently going to change. I think work from home is going to be a way of life for many IT, many office going jobs for a pretty long time. Now, this has posed a challenge of need for mobility. At the same time, this also, as I said, has opportunity for personal mobility opportunity. So we'll have to look at overall what it looks like. But what Indian auto industry, I believe, and particularly, let's say, new technologies like electric vehicles, it gives us a good opportunity with what government is saying today on particularly Make in India. I think the complete global supply chain disruption due to COVID on auto and as well as on electric vehicle has given us a lot of thought process what we need to do going forward.
But
I
Mahesh
think,
ji, with the oil prices going sub-zero, or maybe eventually they will end up hovering around $30-$35 a barrel. Do you think that e-mobility will have traction in long run, sir?
see, you'll have to look at crude prices and you have to look at pump prices. I think you are talking about crude prices. Looking at the pandemic and the challenges government across the world are facing, I don't think anybody is going to give oil free to consumers, and they are going to tax it heavily. You have seen already India. India is looking at fiscal deficits, and hence most of the things have to be relooked in a tax perspective. So I don't believe oil will be cheaper at the pump level. So it is not going to be cheaper. Even if you look at, let's say, 50% cheaper, what you are talking about, the operational cost difference between electric and fossil fuel is not just in few percentage. If you are 70 paisa per kilometer is your operating cost for EV, it's going to be 4.5 rupees, 5 rupees for a gasoline or a diesel. So this can never be bridged just because EVs are just 4 times efficient than fossil fuel. So you can't make it so efficient so quickly, and hence it is not practically possible. So given a chance, EV is always the most efficient way next to walking for any mobile application. So I think it will take a longer time for that, and hence still EVs will do a better way. I also feel, I think there are a lot of things which we have seen, how Delhi has become suddenly clean air. You could able to see Himalayas for a very long distance, and so on and so forth, has given awareness among people. And hence, when we go back or when we start our new life post-COVID, most of us will think, do we want to do the same way like pre-COVID, or do we want to look at what we want to contribute to the society, what we want to contribute to the environment, and do we look at the new ways of living? Because today most of the vehicles are needed because you would suddenly travel weekend to a 500-kilometer range. With the COVID, post-COVID situation, it's not going to be there. Most of the time you're going to be in city and you're going to be in a very short distance. Then EV fits in perfectly well in such scenarios. So this is going to change the whole dynamics of it. But however, having said that, we have to be flexible and dynamic and agile to make sure to understand what customer needs, create products to meet those customers, and make sure that the value contribution comes to the country. Make in India are the three things I would say we have to do when post-COVID.
So Mahesh ji, Prime Minister is talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. If you really look at e-mobility, the biggest and the most expensive component of e-mobility or e-vehicles is the lithium batteries, and we are not making lithium batteries in this country. So how this Atmanirbhar Bharat concept will go with e-mobility, sir?
See, I think you have a valid point. How do we reach to the goal of complete value chain participation by India? The challenge would be lithium-ion battery. But look at the value proportion. Let's look at an EV vehicle. Let's take a EV car. Almost 70% of the value comes from electrical components, EV components. Out of the let's say 30% comes from cell. Most of us are so paranoid on cell, and we left the remaining 40% away. There are motors, motor controllers, power electronics, inverters, software and embedded system, which is the vehicle control unit and battery management system. All of them needs localization. In Mahindra, if you ask us today, the Trio, which is the three-wheeler which we are selling, except the cell, everything else is localized. The motor is made in-house in India. The motor controller is made in India. The power electronics DC-DC converter is made in India. The charger is made in India. The whole vehicle is made in India. The battery pack is made in India. The battery management system is made in India, except the cell, which is the 30% value. Now, are we going to do this across the sector in EV and IC? We will have to look at it. Of course, India, I know very clearly there is a battery and energy storage mission announced by Niti Aayog. And I was told that government is very actively looking at supporting that mission to set up lithium-ion battery manufacturing in India. I think it is not only for EVs, but also look at your own mobile phones. Today, you are holding mobile phones, computers, so many IT devices. All the batteries come from abroad. So why can't we do that? I think this is the time we have to, as a country, sit down and see how can you play a value chain of globally rather than just talking about supplying to India. The right question to ask is how can we set up state-of-the-art lithium-ion manufacturing in India to supply to the globe rather than saying that when do we localize lithium-ion cell?
So whether Mahindra is taking steps in that direction, sir?
Yes. So except the cell, let me explain the other things. We are setting up.
And I would also, and because we are continuing this is a very interesting discussion. So just I would like to also add, because you are talking about the entire value chain, sir, if you can also eventually add about what kind of startup opportunities are available for youngsters in this sector.
Yeah. So in the first question, I'll explain what Mahindra is doing. For example, we are investing and setting up a new state-of-the-art plant in Pune, which will make motors, motor controllers, battery management system, power electronics, battery pack and battery module, except the cell. The whole technology is going to be made